Okay, and we are outside of San Juan. Would you say we're outside of San Juan, Puerto Rico?
We are outside San Juan, Puerto Rico, in the beautiful city of Bayamon.
And we're at the offices of the Park of the Sciences.
Parque de las Ciencias by Toro Verde here in Bayamon. It usually is a park that he was built 60 years ago. It was belonged to the government. Now we through a contract with them, and so we have the right to use the park for the next 30 years. So we rebuild the park, and now it becomes a private operation, but the park is still belong to the government.
And we should introduce you, George.
Hi. Hello, everyone. My name is Jorge or George. I'm the CEO and principal of Toro Verde Parks.
And tell us the whole story, because you were actually born in Nicaragua. You've been to Miami, Costa Rica, Puerto Rico, and you've even built a business in the Emirates, United Arab Emirates.
Actually, yes, I moved to Miami when I was 16. I wasn't born in Nicaragua, but due to political problems and war zone in Nicaragua, my parents, they moved to Miami back in the 1982, 3 years after the revolution. So I was raised in Miami. I consider Miami my hometown, I was raised in Miami, and I worked for a while in different companies. That prepared myself. I finished my studies in Miami. At the end, I took business administration. Back in those days, it was business administration with a class with it was computer science and marketing. That's what I do.
And you ended up being the founder of Toro Verde?
I ended up being the founder. Like I say at the beginning, I work in a lot of different companies that help me to build my character and race. And then due to things in life, I ended up working for a company, or real estate company in Costa Rica. So I live in Costa Rica for almost 13 years. In Costa Rica, we put up a construction company. And in that construction company, we have the pleasure and the experience to build a couple of zip lines for different people. So we start building zip lines as a hobby for friends. That becomes a division in the construction company, and this is how the park was born. Toro Verde Park was born. My wife, she's from Puerto Rico, so back in those days, it was a lot of improvement or work that they were doing in Puerto Rico, so they were giving a lot of incentives that you have to when you build a business in Puerto Rico. So we look into it, and we saw an opportunity to build a park for ourselves after building this different park for everybody, because it was more like a mom and pop stores that they build these parks. But they were operating like a very small amount of people. So we did a very big park. So we industrialized the operation, and we created a very big operation with the incentives that Puerto Rico was given. So for us, that we were looking to start a business, it was a very support, and this is how everything came up with it to build the park in Puerto Rico. So we were looking to build it in the center of the island, which is in Orocovis. We look in a park that it was belonged to the government. It was one of those park that was belonged to natural resources. The name of the park, it was Toro Verde, Toro Negro, and we were going to build the park. So Toro Negro, we encouraged a lot of problems, the legal part, the government, and also the environmentalists. They were protecting the park, and they were thinking probably we were going to destroy the park. So we were having some problems, and then we found this beautiful piece right outside Orocovis at the beginning of the town, that it was 400 acres. So we look at the park and we love it. But back in those days in Orocovis, the unemployment rate, it was 34%. It was only one gas station that it was there, and it only opened Monday to Friday, 8 to 5. And it was only 2 restaurants. Because the main of the concentration in Puerto Rico, 18 years ago, the main concentration of Puerto Rico as a tourist, it was only the golf courses, beach, and casinos. Okay, so that was the main thing. For me, coming from Costa Rica, working in Costa Rica, also seeing all the experience in Miami and all these different experiences was coming around the world, especially in Latin America. And for us, being a builders, we know it was a lot of other things that you can do besides golf courses, beach, and casinos. Actually, they was very old. People, they didn't want to do nothing with that. In today's world, it's all about ecotourism and adventures and experience. So coming to Puerto Rico and seeing what is going on over here, we saw it was virgin for us to do business. We knew we were going to do a very good part, and we got a lot of incentives from the government building in an area that it was depressed. People were moving out, so the town, it was only either older people or very small kids. All the young crowd, the middle people, they were from 20s to the 45, they were gone. So people that were thinking we were crazy doing this, we were very brave by doing this, but that was not real, because we were not even either crazy or brave. We were coming from a background that we know if we would build it, it was going to be a success. Why? Because we already done it in different places. What happened is, in Puerto Rico, nobody knew it. And that's the good part, is we came and being the first ones of doing it. So we became extremely popular. So the park, we call it Toro Verde, in honor as the other park, which it was Toro Negro. So we call it Toro Verde because Verde, the new color of the gold, the new color of the dollar is not, the gold is not yellow anymore, it's green. You don't have no green, you don't have no money. So that's how we call it Toro Verde. Toro because of the bull, and Verde because of the green, nature, gold, and all those different things. We became so extremely popular, and so we have two stories. The story of the building the park, and we have the longest zip line in the world. So we came up with the Guinness World Record, building the longest zip line in the world. But and adventures and people coming, and it was fantastic. But the second story of this part is the impact that we did in the community. The impact that we did in the community, it was very successful, because today they have 5 different gas stations, they have 63 restaurants instead of 2, and also the unemployment rate became 4%, it's being 30 plus. So for the government, it was a story about how we impacted the economic in the area, and not only the town that we were in, but also the surrounding areas. Why? Because we were getting over 250,000 people were going to our park over there to see the area. They either stop for eat or drink or buy something, So this is how we impacted. After that, we got very popular. So I used to use our name as a case or study. One day, the secretary of the tourism department in Puerto Rico, he went to do a speech in New York, and also with his co-workers from different countries. When he was there, a lot of these ministers, they didn't care about the zip lines, or they didn't care about that we build, a very popular or a nice activity for everybody, and also that we are the only company in the world that we have 4 Guinness World Record, but they didn't care about that. What they really cared was the economic impact that we do in an area, how to grow. So in a lot of countries, the government is looking to either develop new areas or impact areas that they being left out of the growth of a country. So now at that moment we understood that our client base changed. We started at the beginning, building small cables for a mom and pop business, and then we got bigger, and now our biggest clients now is actually the government. So this is how we ended up building a park in the Emirates. Actually, we are in Ras Al Khaimah, an hour away from Dubai, that we built the longest zip line in the world, and it's one of the top 5 attractions in Dubai. We call it Dubai because it's an hour and a half from Dubai, and everybody knows Dubai, so but it's in the Emirates. And we are extremely popular, and the reason that the king called us to do it is because he wanted to develop these mountains, and nobody was going to the mountains, so they called us to build the park, and now became one of the best spots in the Emirates. And now he become a real estate business, because this is what happened, that also we impacted the real estate. So we know now, that we understand, and we're doing now the same thing in also in Spain. We're building a park in Cuenca, and now it's at about an hour and 15, about an hour and 20 minutes from Madrid. And also we got called from the government to go over there, because what's going on in Spain is, or also in every countries in Europe, people, they are moving from the small towns and going into the main cities. So they have these empty towns around there. So this is why the government call us, give us the properties, give us the permit. When I say giving us is for us to work with them with a lot of we say preferences for us in order to build this type of park. So also we're working also in another park right now in Virginia. And also we're going to be also in Miami at the Miami Freedom Park with the football, that we're going to be in the stadiums also. So this is now the brand of Toro Verde has become is a global brand. But going to the what everybody has to understand or know is we went through a lot of difficulties. The best part of doing this is you need to be really careful in the contracts. You have to be very careful in the preferences that you're going to put in the contract that you need to have. The problem that you may have in the contracts is crucial. Protecting your brand, protecting your business, protecting yourself. And now with this, I'm telling you, in our cases, we had to deal with different laws and everything in different countries. And some of these countries, they're not easy, so you have to really protect yourself. And you have to think about all the things that can go wrong. And many times, you may think 3 or 4 things, and I'm telling you, it could be a lot more than that. So trying to structure this and trying to have at least a clear understanding, because it's not like you're going to become a lawyer, but you need to understand law in order to ask your lawyer to explain to you, or you can explain to him what are you looking for. It's like in business, is if you're going to run a company, you need to have at least to have an idea when somebody present you a contract, at least to understand the part of the contracts, the legalities of the contracts, how you protect yourself from the contracts, and also what is especially they're requesting from you in behalf that you have to provide the other person in the contract. Once you have that part clear, then you can move forward. So knowing about law, if you're going to run a business, is crucial, especially if you're going to run a company or if you're going to come up with your own company. Either way, you got to understand at least the beginning.
I was nodding along. I didn't want to interrupt you because you've hit so many great points, and you took words out of my mouth about the whole point of why we require the courses that we do in most of our programs at Babson, and why I think that what we learn together matters. We were talking beforehand that a big part of the contract, nobody wants to end up referring to the piece of paper. They say if you're referring to the piece of paper, it's already too late. The relationship is broken. Nobody wants to end up in court. That's a nightmare. So we agreed that maybe the biggest value in a contract is actually the negotiation phase.
The negotiation.
Because you get to know the other side.
Yes.
There's still a chance to run away.
Correct.
If you find out, they think completely differently. You agree. Have you ever walked away from a contract during negotiation because you realized, It's not the terms. I'm discovering something about the other side that I don't want to do business with them anymore.
Actually, before you do a contract, actually you do the negotiation first with the other party, without the lawyers. So actually what you do is you write the list and say, this is what I'm looking for, this is what I want, this is what you're going to get, the other party, and once you have all that clear, then you give it to your lawyers. And it's always good a group to do the contract, and then you have another group to review the contract. And believe it or not, I walk away from a couple times for a table that it was totally different what I negotiated at the beginning. But the way that sometimes that they put it in the contract, it doesn't appear like that. So you have to be extremely careful when you read the contract. So this is why you gotta understand the law, and also you have to hire a good firm also to do your business for you. But yes, many times it's different, totally different what a negotiation for you actually signing in the contract. So you have to be very careful with that.
And even if it turns out that the party, that your counterpart is a solid party, there's nothing, no red flags, there's still value in the negotiation, considering every way that you can screw up, every way they can screw up, every way that something could go wrong.
Yes.
That's the actual value, sometimes more than the piece of paper.
Yes, it's more than the piece of paper, because remember, you always do a business not talking about failing. But failing is a good 50% because
feelings are 50-50 accurate.
Yes. Yes, accurate.
50% of the time feeling. So this is a huge question, because there's even a whole book about intuition.
Yeah.
And about the value of intuition, but it doesn't clarify when you should trust your intuition and when you should question your intuition.
No, for me it's always being a 50-50. Because let me tell you something. Even in our case, we have a good product. A proof product, but in many parts is you can encourage, like in talking for our business, you can encourage different economics, political area that you can do your business. So it's always a good 50-50 chance that everything is going to go okay. So always in the contract you have to prepare for the 50 that is negative. What happens if this goes wrong? What happens if I run out of money? What happens if the interest? What happens if the permits doesn't come out? What happens if they don't give us what we're looking for? It's a lot of if that at the beginning you don't know if that's going to happen. Like right now, I explain you one of the problems that we have in Spain. We bought a property from the government, okay, but at the moment that we went and tried to pay off the property, it was a very small detail there explaining that technically we need to have the permits approved 100% in order for us to buy the property. But in order for us to finish the permits, we need to have the property. So we have a dilemma there. So we cannot buy the property because we don't have the permits, and in the permits department they cannot give us the permit because we don't have the property yet. So it was something very small technical piece in a 84 pages long contract that we both, either party, we missed it. Now we have to go back and redo an addendum to the contract and explain it and everything. But these little things, when you're dealing with another partner or somebody else that want to take advantage of you or anything like this, you can lose a lot of money. So you have to be very careful, because that's what I say, it's always a 50% chance, and it's not all about the business. Many times it's about the contract that you're signing.
So let's make sure we understand the 50-50. So what you meant is 50% of the time, I want to make sure I understood what you meant by that. 50% of the time your feelings are good, but your feelings are incorrect, or 50% of the time they're unknown problems?
Unknown problems, yeah.
Okay.
Unknown problems in a business, that's what I say. It's a 50% chance that everything is going to go okay with the business.
Yeah.
But in that 50 negative, it's a lot of other things that get involved. It's not only about the business. It's about the business. It's about the deal that you make in the contract. It's about if they're going to be able to get the permits or in our case, our permits is very crucial. But at the beginning, you need to sign the contract first in order to start investing in permits or anything like this. But anything can go wrong. You know, I can put a shovel in the ground, and then we can appear to be some kind of old bones from dinosaurs, and it would stop the project. You know, so anything can go wrong. But you need to prepare in putting all those little things. Believe it or not. On in a piece of paper. And I tell you about the bones in the dinosaur is because the project that we're doing in Spain, we found some dinosaur bones, you know, in the area. So you have to be careful with that.
Let's back up and make sure we get. It's okay to go back up and make sure we get. In case I write this up, I want to make sure I got some details right. You were 16 when you left Nicaragua.
I was 16 when I left Nicaragua, and I got to Miami. I was
1980s.
1982, and. So I went to a school over there and then started working in different companies and all this.
And did you know that you'd go into construction?
No. This is how one of the things is also in business, you need to be aware of your surroundings. You need to be aware what is the other people are doing. Sometimes we get into a bubble in our businesses that we only, or our own industry, that you forget about the other industry that they are around, you know. You don't want to be left out. So you need to always grow. You need to always be open. You need to also have your business in different also in other businesses. So not only in one market, you have your investments in different markets. I think this is always good, you know. So you need to be diversified because you don't know when something goes wrong that affects you. So at least you have other source of incomes.
So then how did you end up having your own construction company in Costa Rica? What year did that happen?
That happens in the 2003, 2004. Right at the beginning, actually, I went there to work in real estate. By working in real estate, a lot of companies, they were building in Costa Rica, and they didn't have the access to talk to the construction companies. Me speaking Spanish in those days, they went to me to talk to me to negotiate for them. So in my part, it was not only about the speaking Spanish; it was all about the negotiation because I understood what the client was looking for, and also I understood what the construction company wanted. So I was like a middle point and negotiating the contract for them. So I became a very good negotiator in that part. I saw the business, and then I said, you know what, let's put up a construction company. So at the beginning, we were like more like a general contractor.
So, and then how did it happen? Why Costa Rica?
Well, I was in Costa Rica living. We moved from Miami. I was already married to my wife, and you know, and so I got a job offer working for this real estate company in Costa Rica.
Oh, okay. So as a real estate company that you're working for, you began to realize you're playing a middleman role with construction companies.
Correct.
And it must have been a gringo real estate company because you said your Spanish language was an asset.
Correct.
So, okay. So you had value that way, and that's when you realized I can start a construction company.
I can start a construction company. So that's how I started a construction company. And that happens, you know, and this is how this happened.
2003.
2003.
And what did you call that construction company?
Rock construction.
What?
Rock construction.
Rock.
Yeah.
Rock, like the rock.
I like the rock. Yeah.
Okay.
Rock construction. Yes.
Strong name. And then because she's from Puerto Rico, your wife, that's how Puerto Rico became something interesting to you. What year did you make the move here?
We made the move over here in 2008.
5 years after coming to Costa Rica, starting a construction company.
Yes.
And did you start to do work here first and test it, or did you just move?
Actually, no. Actually, we have a person that came and visited us from Puerto Rico. It was from the government. And he was telling us about the incentives that the government was giving. So like right now in Puerto Rico, if you want to put up a company, they will give you incentives. From every dollar that you invest, they will give you anywhere from 35 to 40% back. So if you invest $1, they will give you 40 cents back. And on top of that, they will give you money for your training, money for your uniforms, money from marketing, salaries. So they will cover all that for the first year. So we, as a business person, looking to having a government that is helping you to put up a business, create jobs, invest, but the government becomes more like a partner with you that gives you that money. And at the beginning, I said, this is for free, so I didn't believe it. So you will, so it's like a no-brainer in making a decision. So when we're coming over here, we're already in the construction company and already we're building zip lines from everybody. So we came over here and looked into it, and we didn't know what to do in Puerto Rico, but I knew it at that moment. I wanted to do something because of the incentives. So we came over here, and then we saw Puerto Rico in a different way, because I was always coming over here to Puerto Rico for vacation and everything, and we love Puerto Rico and I wanted to live here. So by coming over here, I says, you know what? Looking into this, I saw the tourism. It was not having exploded yet the right way, because they only have casinos and golf courses and the beach. And it was only one area of the island it was actually developed in the tourism part. So the other rest of the island, it was not developed. And for me, it was the most beautiful part of the island. So we looked into the tourism department, and we also saw that they were giving all that support, and they were looking also to develop. So they used us as a guinea pigs actually at the beginning. Because they didn't know if we were going to work zipline park in the top of the mountains. We were secure it was going to work because we saw it that works everywhere else, but they didn't know that. In Miami, when I was really afraid, it was available to do the permits and everything. So like I say at the beginning we did the contract. We got the property, and we will sit down to have that problem to get the permits. They told us they were going to take anywhere between 8 to 10 years to get the permits. So at that moment, we called the government and said, listen, we cannot work like this. And so the government came and rescued us and helped us to get faster the permits. And the only reason that they did it is not because we pay for this or we pay somebody on the ground to help us to do this. No, it was the necessity also from the government to help us in order for us to somehow protect the business and also support. Why? Because it was a necessity for them in order for us to be successful. Why? Because they needed to be like this.
They need a successful example of this.
Correct.
Yeah.
So that was the good part. Sometimes in every country, including in the United States and everything, if you know somebody, they can help you. Sometimes if you throw money under the table, they probably help you, but that's not the case, many times. And the part is, once you do it once, everybody knows. So my best advice is don't do it, because in many of these countries, and we work in many countries. If you bribe, then they'll extract more from you. Exactly, correct. Exactly, and the next one, and the next one, and the next one. So don't go into that line because it's horrible, because they will find out. They always find out that you bribe, and all the. And then everybody's going to ask you for money, and it becomes a nightmare. So in our cases, even that we work in a lot of different countries, which is very popular. It's very popular in Costa Rica, very popular in South America, and everywhere. I don't want to mention. Zip lines are popular or bribery? Which do you both of them. Both of them. Not my words. But so yes. Really quick. So let's review the countries that you operate in now, because I understand you started the construction company in Costa Rica. Right. You said that you started to build zip lines. It was like a side project. It wasn't your main occupation. No. How many zip lines had you built in Costa Rica already? We built quite a few, probably over 2 dozens. Really? There's 24 zip lines in Costa Rica? Actually, in Costa Rica, there are more than 200. It seems like a crowded market. It is who opened number 200? Yes, it's about 200, yeah. And they can all make money? And they all make money. Yeah, they all make money. But they're small operations, very small operations. Okay, so I had a whole bunch of questions coming in here. I thought we might talk about, so do you need specialized equipment to build zip lines? Is there a company that does nothing but build zip line cables? Actually, yes. Right now, is a company right now. It actually is a company in France.
And is it the same one that built the ski lift? Is it related
No,
technology? Totally different?
no, totally different. What is the name of the equipment? Petzl.
Okay.
You have Petzl in France. They have developed a technology that is only had to do with rock climbing, zip lining, all these different sports.
Petzl, P-E-T.
P-E-T-C, I think Petzl, P-E-C-E-P-E-T-C-E-L, I think it is.
Okay.
Petzl.
And all they do is do stuff for rock climbing.
That's only what they do.
Right.
And this is a very big, huge, strong company in the world. And then
They
20
make-
years ago, they were not, you know.
They make the equipment, and then you have to rig it up. That's your job?
Actually,
And you run the park.
We run the parks. Yeah, we run a very large operation. You know, we are one of the largest parks in the world. You know, in this type of business. So we run an operation. So actually, we call the companies and we tell them we're looking for this new equipment, this type, and we want you to change it. So they in their laboratories, they prepare the equipment, they send it to us, we test it out, and then once we pass, they sell it to the public.
Oh.
So we work in
So
all
this is another question. So it's actually you customize for the location.
That's correct.
You tell Petzl, look, here's the altitude drop. We need it to then come up because
Correct.
that's how they decelerate, right?
That's
They go
correct.
back up. So you give them the specs, and each one of these is custom made.
Everyone is custom made, and also the more crucial part over here is the structural engineer, because they have to do the structural engineering, hauling these cables. So all these cables, you know, they weigh 8, 10, 12 tons, and hanging in the cable, you know, you playing with people's life, you know. So you have to put in a somehow that they have the drill, the adrenaline, so they have something like a belly. We call it in the belly in the cable. So the people at the beginning they go down, and then after that they start climbing up because we have to reduce the speed
that's right.
in order for we able to stop you on the other side.
And
you
the
know?
temperature affects the length of the
And the
cable.
temperature affects
So
that's correct. When if it's so hot,
Yeah.
the cable gets a little flexible and it's like it looks like a piece of rubber.
Yeah.
It also is
So do you have weights at the end to take out the too much slack? Because it's like a rubber band, right? It
yeah,
can
it's
stretch
looking like
out.
a rubber band. Yeah.
So do you have counterweights at the end to keep it within certain length?
That's correct. And also pull it. And also one of the major problems that we have it was in the Emirates.
Yeah.
Because in the Emirates the
Extreme heat.
the extreme heat goes up to maybe 45, 50. And in
Celsius.
the winter, Celsius. No, Fahrenheit. No, sorry, Celsius.
Celsius.
Yeah, it's 120 and 140 easy Fahrenheit in the summer, but in the winter goes below 0 Celsius, you know. So for the cable, it was a lot of, that's when the cable gets a lot of stress, you know, straight for the heat, straight for the hot. So we had to also check up the cables. And sometimes we have to replace the cable every 3 or 4 years.
Wow.
Because of that.
Tell us about the insurance. Expensive.
Very expensive, very expensive. But you know what? That is also the knowledge. Is how you present everything. In our incidents that we have in the park is less the 0.3%.
Yeah.
Okay, incidents that we have
And they
in
probably,
the park.
I'm going to guess, may I guess? I don't think it has anything to do with the equipment or the zip lining. It's probably tripping on the way from the parking lot. Is that right?
Tripping from the parking lot, people touching the cable when they're running.
Do they really touch the cable?
Yeah, sometimes they touch the cable.
That crossed my
so
mind. You could reach behind.
they burn the hand because they want to touch it. You know, they think that nothing will happen.
But I mean,
It's really hit. It's hot, so they burn their hand. So you have little things that happen, but still it's a 0.3%.
Yeah.
So when we sell it to the insurance, so we go to these companies in different countries. They go, this is too dangerous. So they try to charge you something crazy, and it's not because that they want to do it. It's because they don't have the knowledge. You know, and many times this is
things look dangerous.
right. They look dangerous. So we always compare ourselves to the ski resort.
Yeah.
You know. So listen, in a ski resort, the percentages of incidents is 32 to 35%.
What?
Yes.
Meaning of
People
of
having
peop-
accidents.
Of people that buy a ticket, 32% of them will have an accident
3 out of 10 will have an accident.
at some point in their entire lives, though.
For every year.
30% of
business.
clients?
Yes,
Like
30%.
30% of ticket sales will result in a claim.
Yes. No, they will have an incident. Not a claim, they will have
Right.
an accident, which you have to pay to take care of it and everything. So when I say
It's hard to believe.
it's hard to believe, but remember when we're calling an accident, it can be you were walking from your car to the parking lot, you fell down. That's an accident.
Could it be just a little bit of a sprain or hitting something? You're counting everything.
You can, anything can happen,
okay,
but that's in a ski resort. That is the percentages,
Yeah.
you know.
You make a great point. If ski resorts have to have more injuries, then because there's so much individual control of what you're doing.
That's correct.
So much opportunity to be stupid.
Yes.
Whereas if
I'm
it's-
not saying
yeah.
when I say an accident can be you cut yourself
Yeah.
or you break your leg, but it's still an accident. Either way, it's an accident. You have to take care of it.
I still wonder if it's 32%, but okay, we'll
check it out. Check it out.
All right.
And we are at 0.03%,
Wow.
but we are more expensive. And you know what's
What?
the reason?
You're
Yes.
more why?
Yes.
That's crazy.
Why? Because if something wrong happens with us, it's a debt. That's how they see it. This is how they see it.
All right.
Are we still more expensive?
I'll include on camera my reaction. That just, what? No, because people do die skiing, and I'm going to stop smiling for this. I know somebody who lost a child to a ski incident. It can be deadly.
Yes.
It's actually, I would imagine, with much more frequency.
Yes.
Deadly.
One of the things
As much
is-
as I love skiing and all this,
Yeah,
I enjoy it.
One of the things that
deadly risk.
one of the things that insurance claim is once you give in the equipment, is their own problem if they have the accident.
Whereas they're entirely under your control.
Yeah,
under
I
your
mean
care.
the other ones they are
Okay.
entirely under our care.
Understood.
Yeah.
All right, this is important because you mentioned being in a lot of countries. You mentioned you went from Costa Rica. Did you build any zip lines anywhere else?
Yeah, we went to Ecuador, Brazil, Chile, Argentina, Panama, Dominican Republic, Mexico.
So
Yeah.
did you catch some kind of wave of adoption? How many other companies do what you do?
It's only a few, but as a company, it's only a few. As a business, it's quite a few people that they do what we do.
You started building this for other people in
Yes.
Costa Rica, and then at which point did you turn basically into a zipline company? Is that what you are?
Yeah, this is how we are. A zipline company that. But that's also very interesting because I have to tell you something that happens also to us in the last 2 years.
Yeah.
We were a zipline company before. We got into this business and we are the larger company that we build. But once we start building the zipline park in Puerto Rico, we stopped building companies for everybody else. And the reason was because we saw how dangerous it is. And also we saw a business that we can build it ourselves and put it together ourselves. And also our branding. So we stopped building for everybody else.
You stopped building for other people.
Yes.
And you started operating.
Correct.
And Emirates, how did you get their attention? Was it the Jimmy Fallon video? Is that
No.
what they saw?
No. Actually, the Jimmy Fallon was that came after. Jimmy Fallon was in 2018, 2019. Jimmy Fallon, and the Emirates was in 2016. Actually, it was one of those seminars. The Secretary of the Tourism Department of Puerto Rico was talking about us as a project and how the impact.
What kind of a venue? What kind of a conference? You said it was in New York.
It was in New York. It was a tourism seminar for the different secretaries of tourism in the world from every country. So the person from Puerto Rico spoke about different projects and also spoke about our project, how the impact they did as economic in that area that it was not developed. This is how our story became very popular. And so this is how we got the contract in the Emirates. This is how we got the contract also in Spain. This is how we got the contract also in Virginia that we're going to be building one there also.
So Toro Verde, we also resolved that mystery. There was a Toro Negro, which is the name of the park. You located next to it. It turned out that so another question was whether you built in a park that is owned by the government. No, you bought the 400 acres.
Correct.
Wow.
Yep.
What's the future? What are your plans for the future?
Actually, the plans for the future is that, believe it or not, we're not a zipline company anymore after that.
So what are you going to be now?
We are in an entertainment company.
Okay, and can you share any plans? What's next?
But this is the part. Even that we have zip lines in our park, actually, what we do sell now is happiness, experience, and also unique moments for you. So this is entertainment. So we adding a lot of other features to our parks. Is an entertainment. So let's say that we have zipline. You love zipline, super safe. We draw so many thousands of people every year. But you say, you know what? Fantastic, it's very safe. I love it, everything, but I'm not gonna do it. So you have another clientele in the park that we need to take care those type of people, either or very young or very old, or people that don't wanna do it. So we have to create another experience for them. So creating experiences, you have to create also entertainment. So now we have different entertainment, and one of the things that we brought also to our park is concerts.
Okay.
So areas in the open areas in the park. So now we have concerts and we have all these. So now our line of business is working for somebody else in a real estate business, and then I got switched to owning my own construction company, and that construction company took me to owning a zipline company, and now I'm switching to an entertainment company. But everything at the end is all together, even attached to the beginning, because at the beginning, even that we are an entertainment company, also we are in a real estate business. Why? Because everything that is around us is
you own the land.
We own the land, and it's also become a real estate business. So.
Are you ready for, in case somebody hasn't thought of this while watching this, has anybody told you, or do you tell people, don't worry about these risky new things we're doing because we have a cash cow, get it?
Yes.
A cash cow is the business term for a reliable part of your business that will produce revenue, that is less risky. And that, would you say, is the zip lining? Is it a cash cow? Seriously?
Yes, definitely.
That's the foundation.
It's a cash cow. Yeah, that's the foundation. Yeah,
Okay.
That's the anchor, and that's everybody call us for the zip lines. Yes, that's the cash cow, no doubt.
Yeah.
No doubt.
Play on words.
Yes.
Green bull, verde.
Green bull, Toro Verde.
Toro Verde.
Yes.
There's so the channel name and the book series name is Extreme Entrepreneurship. What is the most extreme environment in terms of, you mentioned, we've talked before about the stereotypes of Latin America. There can be an element of corruption, sometimes political volatility. Right now, you have a business in the Emirates. Tourism might be down for a while in the Middle East.
Yeah.
What's the most extreme environment you've worked in? And any tips for people that are trying to build something new in an environment that's extreme in any way, whether it's climate, whether it's volatility?
Well, I think the most extreme one that we have is when we're working in the Middle East, and either because of political and also religion, and also the weather. Everything was together. So we learned a lot there, and how we can do business. So it was very risky at the beginning, because you didn't know what to expect. Because the law says something, and many times it doesn't apply like that directly. Is how the person that you go and talk to it is, he feels at that moment, how he reads it. So this is something in this country, like we in the Middle East is not difficult, but you need to surround yourself again. You need to surround yourself by having very good contracts. In these cases, they have to be in English and also in their own language, but you gotta have the contract in English at least for you to understand what you're signing. So it has to be a bilingual contract. So half of the contract is in one.
That's an interesting point you're making. Can I interrupt?
Sure.
You mentioned the contract has to be in English, but you're a native Spanish speaker.
Right.
Do you find that English is better for contracts, or is it?
Yes, English is better for contracts.
Why is that?
Let me tell you something. It's just like in English, same thing. The English you speak in America is a different one than the people that speak in England. and it's totally a different one that the people they speak in another different like in Australia. It's totally so the meaning of one word is different in all three countries. So for us, when you have it in English, I can understand my understanding from English, even that I translate it to Spanish. Even my Spanish is my native language, but for me, it's better to have it in English, because if you understand what is in English, the other person that you're signing in also is, for sure that he understands what is in English, even if it's not their native language either. So having in English is the better way of doing it, to having in your native language or their native language. So even if I do a contract in Mexico, that in Mexico I speak Spanish and I speak Spanish, but I will have the contract in English. It's better. It's better.
And
All the companies in the world, every company in the world have the contracts in English, not in their own language.
One of the things we cover, keep coming back to contracts, is that you can choose the forum where disputes get resolved, the means for dispute resolution, the location.
Yeah.
Am I going to guess the default is what? Binding arbitration if there's a dispute, and if it's UAE with a Puerto Rican company, London?
Actually, the arbitration in the UAE, this is something that everybody's going to have a huge problem. This is what happens is, most of the time they want to do the arbitration in their own countries, okay? So, like if you go to Mexico, they want to do the arbitration in Mexico, of course, you know.
And you would prefer here,
I
right?
will prefer to do either Miami or California, you know.
Why California?
I'm talking because Mexico close to California. Anywhere in the United States, you know, I will prefer to do the arbitration there. Why? Because I understand the law.
Right.
I know what to expect and I know how to work. But the arbitration becomes extremely difficult because it's going to go down to their own country, and this is sometimes is off limit because you're doing the business there also, you know. So if you're doing the business in Mexico, all the things within the Mexico, the land is in Mexico, the business, the money is going to generate in Mexico, so the arbitration has to be in Mexico. So this is why you have to protect yourself with an English writing contract. Why? Because it's no misunderstanding from the Spanish, even that I speak Spanish too, you know.
So you agreed to UAE arbitration?
Yes, I agree to UAE arbitration. The only difference is in the UAE, what we have is we have a special law, a special lawyers firm, a legal firm that is the background. It was from England, that they do a lot of business and they do all the business with the government. So the arbitration that they did in the Emirates, it was the same type of arbitration law from England. So we were very confident and comfortable by going with their arbitration, but it's something that you have to negotiate before you go to the arbitration. So if you have a very good contract, you don't end up in arbitration, but this is why the negotiation part and having a good piece of paper is priceless.
This has been really, really interesting. What is a topic that I should have asked you about? What else would you like to share with people that are thinking about starting their own business, especially in an extreme environment?
People they're starting to have first of all is you're going to have problems everywhere. You know, no matter where you go, you're going to have problems. So everything is going to be difficult. Nothing is easy. You know, if it were easy, everybody will do it. That's the first part. So don't let this stop you to become your own boss or have your own company or work for somebody else in a very good position. Don't let it stop you. But surround yourself with good partners. Surround yourself with good lawyers. Surround yourself with good advisors. Depends on the type of business you're going to go. So if you go into the construction business, or have a good engineers and everything, you know, advise you what you're doing. So in the business, it's always a couple legs, and for me, the most important ones is understand your product. You can build gold, but if you don't know how to sell your gold, or where to sell your gold, or who to sell your gold, it doesn't matter you're building gold.
Doesn't matter if you're building gold if you don't know who to sell it to and how.
And how to sell it,
You might have gold and right.
Because so in the beginning is you gotta understand your product. The most important part is you need to understand who you're gonna sell it to. Once you know who you're gonna sell it to, then you're going to work in how you're gonna sell it to, protect your brand, protect your contracts, understand about the law where you're working, and all the different things that can affect your business before you do your business. So do your research, understand who you are, your competition, who is your competition. So when you understand all this, you can do a very good negotiation. By doing a very good negotiation, putting everything on writing. Once you have everything on writing, give it to your lawyer. Because you're not a lawyer, but you need to understand law before you do anything.
Would you say the biggest agreements happen when the lawyer's not yet in the room?
The best agreement happens when the lawyer is not in the room, yes. And then you tell your lawyer, you're gonna do this, and please, because sometimes they can be very
like
complicated, the lawyers, and they can either delay a business or kill a business. So you have to be very careful with the lawyers, because
they can be called the Department of No.
The Department of No, or they can, because remember, they're gonna charge you by hour or by contract. So the more they complicate things, the more the bill is gonna also get bigger.
Another reason to be astute as the business person to know what you're paying for. But also there's a huge point I try to leave people with, which is that the lawyer can be both the person that protects you from your nightmare and helps your dream come true.
Yeah, right? That's correct. Or can kill your dream.
Can kill your dream or make your dream. There's one more point here about insurance. Somebody once said, it's crazy. We've brought up insurance, we brought up risk, we brought up contracts. Somebody who negotiated contracts for oil companies said she couldn't believe after all these years of working with them, even experienced people would agree on the deal and then get the estimates for the cost of insurance. And then they'd realize that changes the whole mathematics of the deal.
That's correct.
So she said, why won't they figure out the insurance cost before?
Yes, get a quote.
Get a quote first. So you agree that if you were to pass on advice, think of everything that can go wrong, get the insurance estimates, and get those before you agree on the terms of the deal.
That's correct. If this is a brand new deal or a brand new company, you have to get quotes for permits. You gotta get quote also for time of the permits. Also, you have to get quote for building, because if you're going to build a new project, you have to get a quote also for construction. You always get a quote. Get quote also for the legal local firm, how would in taking care of your business. Also get a quote for the insurance company. Okay, I think once you have that, I think you're okay.
And one more time, in terms of extreme environment, you said that actually the Emirates was a more extreme environment than any place in Latin America.
Yeah, definitely.
And it's because the governance, this is so interesting, that the Emirates for you was closer to that stereotype of the individual that you're working with and their interpretation of the law.
Yeah, but don't get me wrong, it was very difficult for us because we didn't understood their law. We didn't understand how they do business. So it was very difficult for us. But believe it or not, it was the most simple one of doing it.
So it's both difficult and the most simple.
Yes. Yes. Let me explain you. It could be a little bit complicated how to explain this, but once you need to surround yourself with a very strong binding contract from the government. Once you have that, it was difficult because I was sitting down with the king of Ras Al Khaimah. One of the issues was, says, I think we were back in February, and he wants to open the park by November. And then I said, well, Your Highness, I don't know how long it's going to take the permits. And then he walked into the room, and then he says, who takes care of the permits? And they said, me, Your Highness. I said, how fast can you have the permits for George? I said, we can have it next week, Your Highness.
It's good to be the king.
So it's good to be the king, So the permits, it was not an issue. Right. It becomes more like so for us it was like a wow, this is amazing. And don't get me wrong, the permits, everything was done correctly. Everything was done perfectly. We complied with everything that they request and everything, but they give us the permit to start working at the same time we were doing the permits. So this is a time that we spent. But trying to do that in the United States or in some other country, it's impossible. No way, Jose. You know?
No way, Jorge.
No way.
Jorge.
Jorge. So in this case, you know, it was very simple. But the most difficult part was the negotiation and the contract.
Interesting.
Yeah.
There's currently turmoil. We're speaking in March 2026. Strait of Hormuz, a lot of shipping companies have just apparently of their own accord said we're not passing through.
Mm-hmm.
Tourism is going to be down for a while. Are you guys worried about that?
Yes, we worry because it affects everybody, you know, and even that the war is very far away from here.
Yeah. But it's going to affect the number of tourists going to Emirates to take a zip line.
Yeah, it's going to affect the tourists that are going to zip line over there. And also, it affects everybody, you know. It depends on how you see it. You can see it in a positive way or you can see it in a negative way.
What's the positive way to see this?
Yeah, in a positive way is people, they cannot go to Emirates anymore for tourism. They will come here, you know, to America.
Right.
Because the people are still traveling, you know, that won't stop.
Puerto Rico might seem like a very safe seeming
Exactly
place
correct,
to come
you
and
know?
zip line, right?
You know, or Spain, you know.
That's wow.
Yeah.
It's good to be global.
This is why you gotta have your business everywhere. You cannot depend. You cannot have. How you say? You cannot have all the eggs in the same basket.
Yeah. You got to diversify. On that note, are you spreading all the way to East Asia?
A couple weeks ago, we just got a call from India.
Wow.
I was in India, you know, a very beautiful town, everything, you know, and very crazy, you know, very difficult one because you don't know, is this culture, everything's population, you know. But I was worried because they called me from there and then I didn't know what to do, what to say, you know, so I was just thinking about it. And I have a very good group that they are from India. They live here in Puerto Rico, happens to be. And last week they invited me for a dinner because the ambassador of India from the United States was here in Puerto Rico and he was with them for the dinner. So I went with him for dinner, you know. And then I was talking to him and I told him about the project. He asked me for the same thing. I said, why you haven't built in India yet? And then I said, well, I just got a call a couple of weeks ago. So I showed him the area and I showed him the company that they want to work with us. He said, George, that is the best area to do it. And also that's one of the best companies in India to do it.
Can I interrupt? Is it in the mountains up near the foothills of the Himalaya? There?
Yes, that's exactly correct. Yes, exactly. Looking at the Himalayas and all the area. Actually, that's what the king of that is living in India because he cannot live in his country anymore.
Yeah. Oh my God, from Tibet, the Dalai Lama.
Tibet. That's good. The Dalai Lama lives there. You know.
Do you think the Dalai Lama would want to zipline?
Who knows? You never know. Anyway, so I got a call and everything. So he's talking about the mountain and everything. So then he asked me and they said, "Well, what are you worried about?" I said, "Well, when I was in India, I saw a lot of poor people. You know, we have a very expensive project, a very expensive experience."
Yeah. $99 in Puerto Rico.
$99 in Puerto Rico, you know, that's the average that's spent, you know, anywhere between $100 to $150. That's what people spend, you know. By the time you make it over there, you do your thing, you eat and you buy whatever, it's about $150 per head, you know. So
without the T-shirt and the tour and
that's including the T-shirt and everything. Well,
that's
the average. That's
the average person spends $150. That's not okay.
Yes, that's bad, you know.
Right.
But listen, in a family of four, that's $600. You know, that's a family of four because you only think about yourself.
Yeah.
But once you have a wife and two kids and the parents, you know, usually that's why they go on vacation.
What's the oldest person that you've ever taken, by the way? Do people take their parents?
Actually, we have a lady. We have a lady that comes from New York every year. Last year, I think she was 87.
And she ziplined.
Ziplining, yes. That's why she regrets everything all the time for her birthday.
Is somebody trying to get rid of her? Or?
No.
She wants to.
She wants it. Anyway,
So
so I was talking to him and